Imagine coming home from a 2-week trip, ready to kick back and water your Japanese maples, only to find a fully built public restroom where your prized garden used to be. Yeah, that was me. I'm Alan Meyer, 62, recently retired after 33 years as a city health inspector. All I wanted was peace, privacy, and a good sprinkler system. Instead, I got strangers in hiking boots filling water bottles and tying their shoelaces on my front lawn. Let me take you back a bit. 3 years ago, I bought what I thought was my dream property. A beautifully landscaped corner lot in Willow Creek Meadows, a high-end residential community nestled right at the entrance of North Lake Trail. A wildly popular weekend escape for hikers and day trippers. Thousands of people came through every month, drawn by the Instagram-worthy views and the promise of clean, pine-scented air. When I moved in, the HOA was led by a no-nonsense Vietnam vet named Ron Patterson. The guy believed in, "Don't fix what ain't broke." Rules were enforced with common sense, fees were reasonable, and most importantly, nobody touched your land without permission. But then came Brenda Lovelace. Brenda was sharp, polished, and full of buzzwords like revitalization and economic uplift. She won the HOA presidency by promising to modernize the neighborhood for the future. What she didn't advertise was that her brother-in-law owned half the businesses on North Lake Road. The coffee shops, the smoothie bars, even that overpriced jerky shack. The moment she took office, things got weird. She created something called the Neighborhood Growth Council, and suddenly there were late-night meetings, surveys being done with no explanation, and whispered conversations with local business owners in the clubhouse parking lot. Still, most folks brushed it off. After all, Brenda was just trying to boost home values, right? Then came the $30,000 Community Development Grant from the North Lake Business Coalition. The newsletter called it a blessing for future enhancements. No specifics, just a vague promise to elevate our shared spaces. I asked questions at the quarterly meeting, but Brenda just smiled like a politician and said, "You'll love what we're planning." I should have pushed harder. But timing is everything. My daughter had just given birth to twins in Boise, and I flew out for a 2-week visit. The day I left, I noticed some guys in safety vests near the edge of my property. They claimed they were doing county boundary verification. Harmless enough, right? Wrong. When I got back, I knew something was off the moment I turned onto my street. Cars, dozens of them, were parked bumper to bumper along the curb. I rolled into my driveway and there it was. A 400-square-foot brick restroom facility with a sign that said, Willow Creek Trailhead Public Comfort Station. Built. Functional. Occupied. My trees? Gone. My koi pond? Destroyed. In its place, gravel walkways, park benches, a water fountain, and strangers wandering in and out like it was a highway rest stop. I was stunned. I walked up to a couple coming out of the restroom, and the woman actually thanked me. "It's so nice to finally have a clean facility here," she said. "You must be with the HOA?" "Lady, I am the HOA's worst nightmare." I called Brenda, straight to voicemail. I called the HOA office. The receptionist told me to submit any facility inquiries via email. When I said the facility was on my private land, she hung up. So I started digging. A buddy of mine at the county office helped me get access to some documents, and what I found made my blood boil. The restrooms were approved and built while I was away. fast-tracked through permits in one single day. Why the rush? Because Brenda had timed it down to the hour. I found an email she sent to the construction company the day I left. Property owner away for 2 weeks. Begin work ASAP. Completion required before return. That wasn't all. The facility was already featured in glossy brochures for North Lake Trail, produced a month before construction even started. They'd printed pictures of my land like it was public property. The best part? The HOA had signed a contract with the business coalition for a monthly payment of $600 in exchange for restroom access, essentially turning my yard into a public service station for profit. And Brenda? Her brother-in-law's sandwich shop saw a 40% bump in sales thanks to the increased foot traffic. Now, here's the kicker. They weren't just using my land, they were billing me for it. I received an assessment notice from the HOA charging me $250 a month for facility maintenance contribution. For the restroom they built without my knowledge. They thought I'd roll over. They didn't know who they were dealing with. The next morning, I dusted off my inspection kit and went to work. Decades of experience told me a rush job like this one had to be hiding skeletons. And, oh boy, did I find them. Sewage lines were improperly connected to residential infrastructure. Illegal. The water system tapped into my house's water. No backflow prevention. A contamination risk. The water fountain had elevated bacteria levels. Electrical wiring exposed in wet zones. Inadequate ventilation for a commercial restroom. The foundation, cracking already. Water seeped into the walls. 37 violations, 15 of them critical. And the kicker? Soil samples showed chemical runoff was seeping into nearby yards. But I didn't go to the media just yet. I waited. 3 days later, Brenda hosted a huge ribbon-cutting ceremony at the community center. Local business owners, county reps, even a few city officials. Her slideshow bragged about efficiency, innovation, and economic synergy. There were plans for Phase 2, 3 more facilities across the neighborhood. I waited until she opened the floor for questions. Then I stood up. "Some of you know me as Alan Meyer, homeowner," I said, walking to the podium. "But what you may not know is that I'm also a senior city health inspector, recently retired after 33 years of service. And I've been inspecting your facility." Silence. I pulled out my portfolio. Photos, test results, diagrams. Brenda went pale. Her slideshow vanished as I projected my findings onto the screen. Contamination, improper construction, and health hazards that posed risks to every resident in the neighborhood. The county health officials I'd invited showed up just as I dropped the hammer. "This facility is shut down," they announced. "Effective immediately." Reporters showed up within the hour. The story exploded. Neighbors who'd thought the restroom was harmless quickly changed their minds once they saw pictures of sewage leaks and bacterial test results. Brenda tried to argue that everything was legal, that they had easement rights. But guess what? That clause? It covered utility boxes, not buildings. Plus, the HOA had submitted falsified signatures on the permit applications, including mine. Lawsuits flew. HOA insurance denied the claim due to permit fraud. The county launched a full investigation. Brenda, hit with legal notices on her way out of the clubhouse, the HOA was forced to remove the entire facility and restore my property at their expense. They didn't just rebuild my garden, they enhanced it. New trees, new water feature, upgraded fencing. Honestly, my yards never looked better. Brenda. She was sentenced to community service with the county parks department. I still smile every time I see her picking up trash near the trail entrance. As for the HOA, every board member was removed. New bylaws were enacted requiring a neighborhood vote before any construction on private land. They thought I was just some retiree with a watering can. Turns out, I was a ticking time bomb, with a badge, a clipboard, and decades of code violations memorized. So tell me, have you ever had to deal with a corrupt HOA? Or a neighbor who crossed the line? Drop your story in the comments. I want to hear all about it. And hey, before anyone builds anything on your land, make sure they know exactly who they're messing with.